Good evening, MNGT 5650. I'm Dustin Smith, and I wanted to put together just a quick video on some basic strategy when it comes to CapSim. As you know, next week you'll be moving into your practice round, so I wanted to give you a little something to think about as you start to plan a strategy for your company as we move into team play. Now, a lot of what I'm talking about here can be referenced back to the perceptual map section of your player's guide. So feel free to take a look at this section if you find anything confusing or you want to update yourself on some information. Okay. So just as a review, hopefully you've read through the manual and you have some basic understanding of this. But this is a very important screen. We talk about it inside the module itself, inside Canvas, but I wanted to bring your attention to a couple of different things here. Okay, so first off, right, if you're not familiar with a perceptual map, or maybe you are, right, you've taken a marketing class or something like that, so you know the basics of a perceptual map. All we're doing here is mapping out consumer preferences based upon two different factors. Okay, and in this instance, we have size, so the size of the product that we're making, and performance down here at the bottom. Okay, so in this particular simulation, we're a company that's making sensors. All right, we're a B2B company, so we're selling our sensors to other manufacturers that use them in their devices. So for example, we might be making accelerometers or gyroscopes that go inside your smartphones, for example, or other sorts of applications. All right. Now, our marketing team, our market research team, is ace. Okay, they are fantastic at what they do, and they have collected some amazing data for you. In fact, the data is so good that they're actually able to segment the market, all right, in terms of what they perceive to be some reasonable consumer segments based upon their preferences and buying patterns here. Okay, and that's these 5 segments here. All right, starting off in the upper left, we have what is known as the low-end segment. Okay, these are customers that don't really care about how big the product is. So size 20 is a huge sensor. Size 1 is the smallest microscopic sensor that we can reasonably fathom. And then performance. This is a terribly performing sensor. Okay, all the way up to 20. This is a very high performing sensor. So in this particular market segment, all right, our customers don't really care about size. They don't really care about performance. What they're really sensitive on is price. And how we know that, pardon my scroll here, okay, we can move up to our low-end segment buying criteria. And again, the data we're getting from our market research team is really good. Okay, it comes in a range, okay, but we have an understanding of what our consumers want in this segment. All right, so according to this, all right, the most important buying criteria for this segment is price. Okay, the cheaper the better. They want cheap sensors, cheap products. Okay, in a real-world example, this would be somebody that shops at the dollar store. They're there on a cost basis. Okay, now opposite of that, we have the high-tech segment. Okay, over here. All right, these are people that want cutting-edge technology. They want the smallest size sensors available, they want the highest performing sensors available, and they're willing to pay a price premium for it. You'll notice if you look at the buying criteria, they are less sensitive on price and they are more willing to pay a higher premium. Think about it. These are the customers that are willing to wait outside the Apple store in a line, a half a day before the new iPhone gets released and snap it up as fast as they can. Okay. Here in the middle, we have what we would call the traditional segment. Think of this as kind of like your average consumer. And then on the wings, we have our size segment and our performance segment, respectively. These are consumers that mainly care about the size of the sensor relative to performance. And these are consumers that care about the performance of the sensor relative to size. Okay, so When the simulation starts off, you can see that the words are all mashed together here, but as we separate out, you'll actually be able to see the individual names of your products. But what this means is that all of the companies start in the exact same position. Okay, you have all of the same financials, you're all carrying the same amount of debt, you all have 5 products that are exactly positioned, one in each of the segments. You all start off with a low-end product, a high-end product, a performance product, a size product, and then a product that is focused on the traditional segment here. All right, well, what can we do with this information? All right, as you'll read in later modules in the course, a basic business strategy shows us that there's really 2 ways for a company to make money. Okay? It is either to pursue a low-cost strategy where they mainly focus on delivering a low-cost product. Okay? And they do that by optimizing their systems, investing in technological efficiency, operational efficiency, okay, things like that. Okay? Or, right, you can do more of a differentiation strategy where you're probably providing a higher quality product, okay, but you're doing so at a premium price. A higher quality, a differentiation strategy might not sell as much, okay, but we're making more money on each sale. Whereas a low-cost strategy, okay, we might not, or we'll be selling more, okay, we're not going to be making as much on each unit sold, okay, but we will, as they say, make it up on volume. Now, the other variable in this is we can either choose a broad or a focused strategy. All right, so we can either be a broad low-cost leader, which means that we try to focus on, try to catch as many segments as possible, or we can focus in on a few segments, right, and try to maximize our fit for those particular segments there. Okay, so it's up to you to decide how you want to pursue your product strategy in the context of the simulation. Do you want to be more of a high-end producer? Do you want to capture more of the low-end market? Do you want to try and capture demand from as many segments as possible? Or do you want to focus in on just a few segments here? Okay. If you go into your R&D screen, and actually let me try and pull this up. I'm just going to log into a random team here. All right, I'll just start off with Andrews if it lets me log in. Okay, I'm going to go to the decision section here. Okay, and we'll go into our R&D. So these are our 5 products: Acre, Able, Atom, Aft, and Agape. All right. And if we invest money into R&D, okay, so for atoms, for example, let's say that we want to continue to innovate this product and keep it at the sweet spot in this segment, which is right about here. Actually, the area of highest potential demand in the whole high-tech segment, okay, is not surprisingly right here at the cutting edge where we have the highest performance, all right, and the smallest size. Okay, so this is where R&D expenditures really come into play. So let's say we want to introduce an innovation, all right, a new update to our product, and we want to bring it down into this sweet spot. So let's say, I don't know, we want a performance of 10, okay, and then we want to innovate also down to a size of 10, okay? So we'll pop that in there, all right, and if I recalculate, okay, it's going to take until June of next year. All right, so right now we're in 2026. Okay, so this innovation won't come online until next year. It's going to cost us 1.5, basically 1.5, $1.5 million. Sorry, these are in thousands. Okay, and it will move Atom down to this particular segment. So that is a way that we can kind of keep products up to date if we want to target the high-tech segment. Okay. Another thing that we can do, right, is just introduce a new product. Okay. You can name it whatever you want as long as it starts with the letter that your team is named after. So let's just say art, okay? And I can do something similar. Let's say I want a size of 9.5, okay, and a performance of, a performance of 10.5 and a size of 9.5. And let's say mean time before failure, we'll do 25,000. Okay? So when this product comes online, it's going to take longer to develop since it's a new product. It's not going to come online until the 12th of September next year. And each simulation game round is 1 year. So we're realistically only going to have a few months worth of sales for this product when it comes online. It's going to cost us $1.7 million. But that's where it's going to be positioned when it comes online. Okay? So if you pursue a high-tech strategy, if you want to maintain cutting-edge tech, a lot of times what you're going to find yourself doing is spending a lot of money in R&D, not only to keep your current products up to date, but introduce new products, all right, in order to kind of keep that technological competitive advantage. All right. The trade-off here is that all this money that you're going to be spending in R&D is expensive. Obviously, it's going to add up. Okay. But you'll be able to sell these products for a premium. It's a balancing act here. Okay. Now, in the low-end segment, Acre, sweet spot is kind of right where it's positioned here. Okay. Obviously, we're going to want to throw some money at this product in order to keep it viable in this particular segment here, okay? But R&D costs potentially won't be as high, okay? And you actually have a couple of different strategies that you can use, all right? And a lot of it relates to segment drift, okay? Oh, let me pull up, let me go back and, alrighty. Sorry, guys. Oh, I'm still logged into the team here. Okay, industry results. We'll go back to reports here. And, whoops, actually do debrief. Latest round. Oh my gosh. Decision summaries, balance scorecard. There we go. Oh my gosh. My apologies for that. All right, so this is year 0. All right, and as it says in your manual, in order to simulate the real world phenomenon of people over the years, no matter what, expecting better performance, better quality, no matter what out of their products, each of these segments is going to drift to the lower right over the years. Right now, they're pretty clustered together in the upper left hand of the perceptual map. Now, here's another simulation that I ran, and this is year 7. Okay. We can see that by year 7, the segments have not only separated, but drifted down towards the lower right. Right? So what that means is if you have a product positioned here, next year, consumers are going to have more stringent, higher expectations about what it means to be a cutting-edge product. All right. So in order to stay in this sweet spot and follow the drift each year, if you want to be a high-tech producer, right, then you're going to have to invest a lot in R&D in order to keep your products cutting edge. All right. Lower end, there's still going to be some drift. Okay. It's not quite as drastic, right, as the high performance segment. So it's a little bit easier in terms of R&D expenses to kind of keep this, to keep your products positioned in this particular segment here. All right. So with that being said, there's also a couple of other things that we could do. Let's say we have a product in the traditional segment, okay, and it's starting to age out. It's getting older, and we have to make a decision. Do we want to kill it off, all right, just stop investing in it and delete the product from our product line? Or another thing we could do is as these segments drift down, we could let our product drift into the low cost segment here. All right, so what used to be our traditional segment product, okay, is now positioned in the lower end. Same thing with our high tech. Okay, we could let it drift into the traditional segment as we introduce new high tech products here. Okay, It all depends upon your product strategy. Okay, same thing over here. Maybe we can move a product out into the edge. We can install some updates that might make it more appealing to this consumer group, or we can bring a product back, okay, by adjusting it in certain ways. All right. So this is what, in this particular simulation, this is what the product perceptual map looked like after a while. Okay, so I want to bring your attention to two teams. Okay, first is Team Ferris, Team F. Now we can see if we just look at the products that they've employed. So they have 5 products: feet, foam, is that fuel, I believe, fume, and then I can't quite make that out here. I don't know exactly what that one is named. Okay, but yeah, we can see how they're positioned. They're clearly attacking the high-tech segment with these products. They're clearly attacking these 2 wings, right? So they have kind of a focused strategy. They're only focusing in on these 3 particular product segments. Okay? They've abandoned the traditional segment. They've abandoned the low-end segment, all right? And they're very well positioned in terms of their products to be in these particular segments here. Okay? And just as a review from the student manual, okay, the circles represent the upper limits of demand. Okay, so in the high-tech segment, all right, this bold line represents essentially the upper limit of what products consumers would consider purchasing. All right, this dotted line is kind of like, yeah, if nothing else is available, sure, I'll buy it. Okay. Now, what that means is at the start here, when these segments are clustered, if we have a high-tech product that is sitting right here, we might actually sell our high-tech product to consumers in the traditional group or consumers in the high-end group. All right, but that that phenomenon is going to become less pronounced as the simulation moves forward. Okay. Now let's look at another team here. So Team A. Okay, we can see that they have several different products here. They have ARM, right, which is in square in the center of the traditional segment. They have Agape, Aft, and Atom, which have essentially just aged out of the low-tech segment. Okay. What consumers are basically saying here is that, yeah, we want a cheap product, but we do still expect a certain amount of reliability and a certain amount of size, and these just aren't it. All right, they will not be looking at these products, all right, compared to their competitors. These products are not going to sell very well. And then look at these 2 products over here. We have Antro and we have Able. These products are so far out of left field, right? Not well positioned at all. Able is not going to sell any units whatsoever. This would be like a customer coming into your store asking for a handbag, and you say, hey, over here we have a stick with a plastic grocery bag tied to it. Would you take that? All right, not going to happen. Able and Antro are not going to sell. So they are really poorly positioned, okay, in relation to their competitors. So without even looking at their financials, I could already guess that they're probably in dire financial trouble. All right, so let's scroll up. Traditional segment. Oop. Okay, go through everything. Okay, and there we go. No, not stock market summary. All right, selected financial statistics. Okay, Ferris doing reasonably well, right, with their positioning strategy. They are pretty much dominating the market in terms of sales. Okay, they're bringing in $405 million a year in just raw sales. Okay, although, Digby, even though not as much, they're still relatively similar just in terms of raw efficiency. Okay, their cost position is a lot lower. But then if we look at Andrews, 0% return on sales, 0% asset turnover. They basically didn't sell anything this year. They had to take out an emergency loan of $232 million. Okay, cumulative profit is negative 166 million. If the simulation allowed for bankruptcy, right, this company probably would have been sold off for parts a long time ago. Okay, so in something to think about. What do you want to do as a company? Do you want to target as many segments as possible, okay, or do you want to focus in on each of these, or just a handful of particular segments? Okay. And then how do you want to treat your products? Do you want to let them drift and then maybe position them for a different consumer segment once they've become a little bit older and out of date? Okay. Or do you want to constantly or consistently be introducing new products and then killing off older, obsolete ones, all right, as they age out of the marketplace? Because old products are not bad. Okay, something to keep in mind. Old products are not bad. In fact, if we look up the low end segment here, okay, we can see that one of the buying criteria that consumers take into consideration is the age. Okay, they want older. Maybe they perceive them as more reliable products or something like that. Okay, so they want consistently older products or products that are perceived as older. All right. And what happens when we introduce an R&D project, okay, we essentially cut that perceived age in half. It's like, I don't know if, I don't know, from the video game world, Nintendo introduces a console, and then a couple years later they introduce an updated version of that console, like the Nintendo Switch, and then they introduced the Nintendo Switch with the OLED screen. Okay, it's not perceived as brand new, but it is perceived as updated, so it does cut the age in half. So it's some things that you can tweak and play around with. So you have 4 years, up to 4 years of time that you can practice with your practice rounds in the simulation. So I would, give it a shot and see what happens when you position your products differently. All right, move them around or invest in different R&D products or projects and things like that. But ultimately, try to formulate what you think is a competitive product strategy for tackling each of these consumer segments here. Okay. Um, I'll be available for any questions. I love this simulation. I've been using it for several years now, and I'd love to see how the rounds shake out. So thanks, everybody, and enjoy the weekend.